Good morning, students. Last class we have discussed in hydrogen lesson isotopes of hydrogen, method of preparation of hydrogen, properties of hydrogen, uses of hydrogen. Okay, today's class we are going to discuss about compounds of hydrogen. Compounds of hydrogen. Under that, the first compound we are going to say is water. You know what is the formula for water? H2O. Okay, so water is one of the most abundant compounds of hydrogen, and our Earth's surface contain approximately 70% of ocean, which is the major source of water. However, seawater contains many dissolved salts, hence it cannot be used directly. Water is the essential for all living things, and our body contains about 65% of water. If you take water structure, that is H bond O bond H, between HOH the bond angle is 104.5 degree. Physical properties of water. Water is a colorless and volatile liquid. The peculiar properties of water in the condensed phases are due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the water molecules. You know what is meant by hydrogen bonding? Hydrogen bonding is nothing but bonding between hydrogen atom and highly electronegative elements like nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. Hydrogen bonding is nothing but hydrogen atom is bonded to the highly electronegative elements. Many highly electronegative elements are there. Understood? If you take nitrogen family, all the elements, oxygen family and halogen family, all the elements are highly electronegative only. But hydrogen atom is bonded to the highly electronegative elements like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Then only it is called as an hydrogen bonding. You know why? Because hydrogen atom is bonded to highly electronegative elements like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Then only it is very effective, because hydrogen atom is bonded to smaller size of the atom, highly electronegative atoms or elements. Higher atomic number or higher size of the atoms will combine with hydrogen, means then that is not a hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonding means hydrogen atom is bonded to highly electronegative elements like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Between H and N, nothing but example ammonia. What is the formula for ammonia? NH3. Between nitrogen and 3 hydrogen, hydrogen bonding is occur in ammonia. Same way, water molecule if you take means H2O, H bond, O bond, H. This is the structural formula for water. So hydrogen, 2 hydrogen atom is bonded to 1 oxygen atom. So it is also an example for hydrogen bonding. HF, between hydrogen and fluorine, it is also an example for what they are saying, hydrogen bonding. So between the water molecules, not only one water molecule, many water molecules combine, between that hydrogen bonding occur means then we can say that is a intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Inter means 2 or more molecules, may be same or different. The 2 or more molecules while combining, between the 2 or more molecules hydrogen bonding is occur means then we can say that is a intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding is there, that is nothing but within the molecule itself hydrogen bonding is occur means we can say that is a intramolecular hydrogen bonding. So for intermolecular hydrogen bonding, you can take example inter-school meet. All the other school students will come and participate in one school. Many competitions will be held on. Understood? Okay, next. Hydrogen bonding, because what they are saying, the peculiar properties of, why I am saying this one means, you know what is meant by hydrogen bonding and what is meant by intermolecular hydrogen bonding. That's why I explain. Now one more time, physical properties of water. Water is a colorless and volatile liquid. The peculiar properties of water in the condensed phase are due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding between water molecules. Hydrogen bonding is the responsible for the high melting point and boiling points of water. Water can have a high melting point and boiling point, which is the main reason for or responsible for the high melting point and boiling point of water is nothing but hydrogen bonding, because between hydrogen and oxygen in water molecule hydrogen bonding occur. To break that bond, we should increase the temperature, so that time boiling point will be increased. So some of the physical parameters of water are listed in the tabular column that have given in the book, like molecular weight, melting point, boiling point, temperature, viscosity, density. So like that way, many some of the physical properties they have given for water. And not only for water, deuterium oxide, tritium oxide also they are given. Okay. The next one, chemical properties of water. Chemical properties of water. The first property is nothing but water react with metals and non-metals and other compounds also differently. So first one we are going to discuss about water react with metals. Water react with metals. Water react with metals like sodium. Okay, what it will give? Sodium Na plus H2O will give NaOH by the liberation of hydrogen gas. Same way, example for other metal, barium. Barium will combine with water, it will give barium hydroxide. That is nothing but Ba plus H2O will give BaOH twice plus H2 gas will be liberated. Same way, some transition metals like iron, okay, both in hot water and steam condition, it will combine and to form the corresponding oxides. Nothing but iron Fe plus H2O will give Fe3O4 plus H2O. Okay, sorry, not H2O, H2, release of hydrogen gas. Lead and copper decompose water only at a white heat. Silver, gold, mercury, platinum do not have any effect on water. In the elemental form, non-metals such as carbon, sulfur, phosphorus normally do not react with water. However, as we have seen earlier, carbon will react with steam when it is red or white hot to give water gas. Water gas preparation we have discussed already the last class. So, as we have seen earlier, carbon will react with steam. Understood? Steam means what you will write in the equation formula, water only, H2O. So when it is red hot or white hot to give what as the product? Water gas as the product. Okay. On the other hand, halogens, that is non-metals, like halogens react with water to give an acidic solution. For example, chlorine forms hydrochloric acid and hypochlorous acid. It is responsible for the antibacterial action of chlorine water and for its use as bleach. Cl2 plus H2O will give HCl plus HOCl. HOCl is called as an hypochlorous acid. Fluorine react differently to liberate oxygen from water. Fluorine, that is F2. Fluorine reacts differently to liberate oxygen from water. So F2 plus H2O will give HF plus O2. In a similar way, compounds of non-metals react with water. Non-metals, compounds of non-metals. Example, non-metal carbon. Compounds of non-metal carbonate we can take. So compounds of non-metals react with water to give acidic or alkaline solution. For example, solutions of carbonates are slightly alkaline. So CO3 2 minus plus water will give H2O will give HCO3 minus, bicarbonate anion HCO3 minus plus OH minus. So water is nothing but an amphoteric oxide. What is meant by amphoteric? Oxide means O. It will be combined with oxygen and it will form oxide. Water is a oxide only. Oxide of hydrogen only, water. Okay, but what they are saying, amphoteric oxide. What is meant by amphoteric means both acidic and acidic properties and basic properties. It will react, or it will react with both acid and base. That we can say amphoteric in nature, or amphoteric means that compound behaves as both acidic and basic. So what they are saying, water is an amphoteric oxide. So it has the ability to accept as well as donate proton. Donate, proton donor. Proton donor are called acid. Proton donor are called acid. Proton acceptor are called base. What is proton? Hydrogen atom, if you take, means it is the first element present in the periodic table. What is the meaning for that one? Atomic number of hydrogen is 1. Atomic number of hydrogen is 1. What is the meaning for that one? Hydrogen can have 1 proton and 1 electron. Hydrogen can have 1 proton and 1 electron. Suppose this hydrogen, okay, remove 1 electron from it. Remove 1 electron from it. Then what the hydrogen can have with it? If that hydrogen remove 1 electron from it, then it can have only 1 proton. So symbol how we can write means H plus. H plus. What is the meaning for that one? Electron deficient. Electron deficient means positive charge. So H plus. That H plus only called as a proton. Addition of proton means then we can say protonation. Understood? Removal of proton means deprotonation. Deprotonation. Proton will be donated to the atom. Another atom means then that we can say proton donor. From one compound to another compound, proton will be removed and it will be added. From one compound, proton will be removed and that will be added to the another compound means then we can say proton donor. What is proton acceptor? Acceptor. One compound accept proton like H plus. Then that is called as a proton acceptor. Okay, so proton donor is nothing but electron acceptor. Electron acceptor or proton donor is called as an acid. Proton acceptor or electron donor are called as an base. So that only they are saying water is an amphoteric oxide. It has the ability to accept as well as donate protons and hence it can act as an acid or a base. For example, in the reaction with HCl, it accepts proton. That is water react with HCl. So H2O plus HCl will give what we are saying H3O plus Cl minus they are given in the reaction. What is the meaning for that one? From hydrochloric acid H plus, that is nothing but chlorine gain electron from hydrogen and it removed hydrogen as a H plus proton. That proton will go and add with water. So now what HCl is nothing but donating a proton, but water is accepting a proton. Understand not what I am saying? So it will accept the proton means we can say that is a basic in nature. But example, if you take for acidic in nature, water is acidic in nature. For that example, if you take means ammonia. What is the formula for ammonia? NH3. What is the formula for ammonia? NH3. So ammonia NH3 that will be react with water H2O. NH3 plus H2O will give NH4 plus OH minus. NH4 plus OH minus. Nothing but now in this reaction, water will remove H plus from it. So that H plus will go and combine with ammonia NH3. It will become NH4 plus and OH minus. So now from water H plus will be removed. What is that H plus? Proton. So proton nothing but what? Donor. So proton removed means proton will be removed from it, or we can say proton donor. So now water is act as a proton donor, so it act as a acid we can say. Understood or no? Next, water dissolves ionic compounds. Water dissolves ionic compounds. In addition, it also hydrolyzes some covalent compounds. Water dissolves ionic compounds because ionic compounds are what? Nothing but polar compounds. So polar compounds dissolved in polar solvent like water. So that only they are saying water dissolves ionic compounds. In addition, it also hydrolyzes. Some covalent compounds. Okay. Now, SiCl4 plus H2O, silicon tetrachloride, SiCl4 combined with water, that time silicon and oxygen from water, it combine, it will become SiO2, silicon dioxide, and Cl and H will become a HCl. Understood? Next one, phosphorus pentoxide, P2O5 also we can write for the formula for phosphorus pentoxide, or we can write P4O10 also. So phosphorus pentoxide combined with water H2O, it will become what? No, phosphoric acid. Many salts crystallized from aqueous solution form hydrated crystals. Many salts crystallized from aqueous solutions form hydrated crystals. The water in the hydrated salts may form coordinate bond or just present in interstitial position of the crystal. The water in the hydrated salt may form coordinate bond or just present in interstitial position of the crystal. Example, if you take chromium hexa aqua chromium 3 chloride, it is the example for coordination compounds. CrH2O 6 times Cl3, it is, that is example hexa aqua chromium chloride 3 chloride. It is an example for coordination compound. In this compound, all 6 water molecules form coordinate bond. Okay, so next, BaCl. Do you know what is meant by coordinate bond? Already the two atoms is bonded covalently. From that, okay, atom will share donate the electrons to the other atom. That time obtaining bond is called as a coordinate bond. Now next example, barium chloride BaCl2 dot 2H2O, both water molecules, that is 2 water molecules are present in interstitial. In this compound, both the water molecules are present in interstitial position. Next, CuSO4 5H2O. This we can say the name as copper sulfate pentahydrate. In this compound, 4 water molecules form coordinate bond, while the 5th water molecule present outside the coordination can form the intermolecular hydrogen bond with another molecule. CuSO4 5H2O. This is nothing but hydrated copper sulfate. In this compound, 4 water molecules form coordinate bond, while the 5th water molecule present outside the coordination can form intermolecular hydrogen bond with the another molecule. How means CuH2O 4 times inside the square bracket, outside the square bracket SO4 dot H2O. That H2O will make a bond with the another molecule. Understood? Intermolecular hydrogen bonding with the another molecule. This is the meaning for this one. Okay, next that they have given in your book, like in a diagram they have given, just to see. Okay, hot and soft water. Hot water contains high amount of mineral ions. Hot water contains high amount of mineral ions. Hot water means we can say it is like a salt water only we are saying. Okay, so hot water contains high amount of mineral ions. The most common ions found in hot waters are the soluble metal cations. The most common ions found in hot water are the soluble metal cations such as magnesium and calcium. though iron, aluminium and manganese may also be found in certain areas. So presence of these metal salts in the form of bicarbonate, chloride, sulfide in water makes water hard. Okay, so the most common, that is nothing but hard water contain high amount of ions. That is many more amount of ions it will be present in the hot water. The most common ions found in hot water is nothing but soluble metal cations such as magnesium and calcium, though iron and aluminium, manganese may also found in certain area. So presence of these metal salts in the form of bicarbonate, chloride and sulfides in water makes water hard. These chloride salts, bicarbonate salts and sulfate salts of aluminium, iron in water makes water hard. So when hot water is boiled, carbonate of magnesium and calcium present in it gets precipitated. When hot water is boiled, carbonates of magnesium and calcium present in it gets precipitated. On the other hand, water free from soluble salts of magnesium, calcium is called soft water. We can say on the other hand, water free from soluble salts of what? Calcium and magnesium, that is called as a soft water. So the hardness of water is of two types. One is temporary hardness and another one is permanent hardness. Temporary hardness and its removal. Temporary hardness of water, how we can remove that temporary hardness, we can see now. Temporary hardness is primarily due to the presence of soluble bicarbonate of magnesium and calcium. Soluble bicarbonates, HCO3 bicarbonate, soluble bicarbonates of magnesium, calcium, that is nothing but calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate only we can say. So temporary hardness is primarily due to the presence of soluble bicarbonates of magnesium and calcium. This can be removed by boiling the hot water followed by filtration. So upon boiling, these salts decompose into insoluble carbonate. Upon boiling, what happened? These salts, these bicarbonate salts of magnesium and calcium decompose into insoluble carbonate. Which leads to their precipitation. That only what will happen? The ions, metallic ions and all will go and precipitate while boiling, they are saying. Understood? So magnesium carbonate thus formed further hydrolyzed. Now suppose if you take magnesium bicarbonate, that magnesium bicarbonate will boiled means it will become magnesium carbonate. Again that magnesium carbonate will be hydrolyzed means you will get what? Magnesium hydroxide. That will be insoluble. Suppose calcium bicarbonate decompose means it will give calcium carbonate, carbon dioxide and water. Magnesium bicarbonate decompose means that is nothing but heated means it will give magnesium carbonate, water and carbon dioxide. But that magnesium carbonate will combine with water, that is nothing but it will undergo hydrolysis. It will give magnesium hydroxide by the removal of carbon dioxide. So the resulting precipitates can be removed by what? Filtration. Alternatively, we can use Clark's method. Clark's method, in which calculated amount of lime is added. Alternatively, we can use Clark's method to remove temporary hardness of hot water. So what they are saying, alternatively we can use Clark's method in which calculated amount of lime, what is lime? Calcium hydroxide only. So calculated amount of lime is added to hot water that hot water containing magnesium and calcium, and the resulting carbonates and hydroxide can be filtered off. So calcium bicarbonate combined with lime. What is the formula for lime? CaOH twice calcium hydroxide. It will give calcium carbonate and water. Same way, magnesium bicarbonate combined with calcium hydroxide lime. It will give calcium carbonate. Understood? Magnesium hydroxide and water. So like this way we can remove the temporary hardness of water. There are two types of hardness of water. One is temporary hardness. Temporary hardness means what will be there in the water, in the hot water? That is nothing but presence of soluble bicarbonates of magnesium and calcium are there, means then we can say that is a temporary hardness. And permanent hardness, how we can remove? Permanent hardness of water is due to the presence of soluble salt of magnesium and calcium in the form of chlorides and sulfate. Temporary hardness means what? Bicarbonates of magnesium, calcium. Permanent hardness means chloride of calcium and magnesium, sulfates of calcium and magnesium only. So it can be removed by adding washing soda. By adding washing soda. What is the formula for washing soda? Na2CO3. Na2CO3. So M, that is nothing but metallic chloride. M is nothing but, generally for metal we are writing M, and chloride means Cl2. Instead of M we can write example calcium magnesium. So calcium chloride CaCl2 combined with washing soda Na2CO3, it will give what as the product? What? CaCO3 calcium carbonate and NaCl as the product. Next one, same way magnesium sulfate if you take means MgSO4, that will be treated with sodium carbonate washing soda. It will give what as the product? Magnesium carbonate MgCO3. Understood? By the removal of what? Na2SO4. Understood? So in another way to soften the hot water, to soften the hot water is by using a process called ion exchange. In another way also we can soften the hot water by using the process that is called as an ion exchange method. That is, hardness can be removed. Hardness can be removed by passing through an ion exchange bed like zeolites. That is, hardness can be removed by passing through an ion exchange bed like zeolites or column containing ion exchange resin. Ion exchange resins. So zeolites are what we are saying. Zeolites are already, zeolite is nothing but it is a porous structure and it is nothing but hydrated sodium aluminosilicates with the general formula NaO.Al2O3.xSiO2 X is equal to 2 to 10 and Y limit is 2 to 6. So zeolites have what they are saying, porous structure in which the monovalent sodium ion are loosely held and can be exchanged with hardness producing metal. M is equal to Ca calcium and magnesium in water. So the complex structure can conveniently be represented as Na2Z with sodium as exchangeable cations. So Na2Z plus M2 plus M3 plus will give what? One metal will go on, that is metal will go on attached with the what? Z. Understood? And Na will be replaced, exchangeable cations. So already cation in Na2Z, already cation is there Na. Now we are adding another one metallic ion. That metallic or cation will go on displace the sodium. So it is nothing but what they are saying, ion exchange method. So in another way to soften the hot water is nothing but by using the process called as an ion exchange method or ion exchange cations like that way. So when exhausted, the materials can be regenerated by treating with aqueous solution or sodium chloride. When exhausted, the materials can be regenerated by treating with aqueous sodium chloride. So the metal ions Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus caught in the zeolite or resin are released and they get replenished with sodium ion. So Mz plus NaCl will give Na2Z plus MCl2. Understood, ma? Okay. Next compounds of hydrogen is nothing but heavy water. Heavy water is the compound of deuterium, because deuterium is one of the isotope of hydrogen and it is also called heavy hydrogen. Heavy hydrogen. Understood? What's the formula for water? Ordinary water H2O. Then heavy hydrogen means what will come? D2. So D2O. So that is nothing but what? Formula for heavy water. So deuterium oxide is nothing but heavy water. So it is the oxide of heavy hydrogen. It is the oxide of heavy hydrogen. 1 part of heavy hydrogen is present in 5 parts of ordinary water. 1 parts of heavy water. 1 parts of heavy water is present in 5,000 parts of ordinary water. It is mainly obtained as the product of which is water. That is nothing but it is mainly obtained as the product of electrolysis of water. Electrolysis of water only it is mainly obtained. When water will undergo electrolysis, it will obtain what? No, that is D2O will be obtained. As D2O does not undergo electrolysis as easily as H2O. H2O will undergo electrolysis, but D2O does not undergo electrolysis as easily as H2O. So heavy water is nothing but formula for heavy water D2O. It is nothing but one of the oxides of heavy hydrogen. 1 part of heavy water is present in 5,000 parts of ordinary water. Understood? And D2O, that is heavy water, is a colorless, odorless, tasteless liquid. However, there is a marked difference between the physical properties of water and heavy water. It is given in the tabular column. Understood? Next, chemical properties of heavy water. When compounds containing hydrogen is treated with D2O. The compounds containing hydrogen are treated with D2O. Hydrogen undergoes an exchange for deuterium. Hydrogen undergoes an exchange for deuterium. Example, if you take sodium hydroxide NaOH, this will be treated with D2O, heavy water. It will give what? From NaOH, hydrogen will be replaced by D2, that is D, deuterium. So 2NaOH plus D2O will give 2NaOD plus HOD. What is that HOD? Nothing but hydrogen, actually deuterated water we can say. Deuterated water we can say. Understood? Same way, what is NaOD? Deuterated sodium hydroxide. Deuterated sodium hydroxide we can say. At the same time, this D2O is combined with HCl. It will become DCl plus HOD. Same way, this D2O combined with another example, ammonium chloride NH4Cl. It will give deuterated ammonium chloride ND4Cl plus HOD. So what? Nothing but hydrogen containing compounds is treated with what? Heavy water. That deuterium will go and replace the hydrogen from the compounds and it will give the products. So these exchange reactions are useful in determining the number of ionic hydrogen present in a given compound. How many number of H plus ions are present in a given compound? To determine that, these exchange reactions are used. For example, when D2O is treated with hypophosphorus acid, phosphorus acid H3PO3, phosphoric acid H3PO4, hypophosphorus acid H3PO2. So now this D2O combined with H3PO2 hypophosphorus acid, understood, it will replace totally how many hydrogen atoms are there in hypophosphorus acid H3PO2? 3 hydrogen atoms are there, but only one replaceable hydrogen in hypophosphorus acid, because it is an example for monobasic acid. It is an example for monobasic acid. That's why. Okay, so hypophosphorus acid, only one hydrogen atom is exchanged with the deuterium, and it indicates that it is a monobasic acid. So reaction, how we can write? H3PO2 plus D2O gives, understood, H2, one hydrogen is replaced by D. So H2DPO2 plus HDO. It is also used to prepare some deuterium compounds. Which one? Heavy water is also used to prepare some deuterium compounds. Example, calcium carbide, aluminum carbide. So calcium carbide combined with the D2O, it will form CaOD twice plus C2D2, deuterated ethylene. What is the formula for, so deuterated acetylene? What is the formula for acetylene? C2H2. But deuterated acetylene, C2D2. Same way, magnesium nitrate, Mg3N2 plus D2O will give what? MgOD twice plus 2ND3. So Ca3P2, calcium phosphide, combined with heavy water D2O, it will give CaOD twice, calcium what? Deuteroxide. Calcium hydroxide means CaOH twice. Calcium deuteroxide means CaOD twice plus what is that? Nothing but phosphine only actually. Instead of D, H will be there, means 2pH3. pH3 means phosphine gas. Instead of that, here what? PD3. Understood? Okay, so deuterated phosphine, the name of that. Okay, so now this deuterium oxide, heavy water, is used for the preparation of many deuterium compounds. Next, uses of heavy water. Heavy water is widely used as a moderator in nuclear reactors, nuclear atomic power station, and all, if you can say nuclear power station. In that nuclear moderator, that is nuclear reactor, it is used as a moderator. In nuclear reactor, it is used as a moderator. Moderator means it can lower the energies of fast moving neutrons. Fast moving neutrons are there in nuclear reactors to what is the word we can, to lower the energies of fast moving neutrons, it will be used. So it is nothing but what? It is used as a moderator. And next one, it is commonly used as a tracer to study organic reactions mechanism and mechanism of metabolic reactions also. And the third one, it is also used as a coolant in nuclear reactor as it absorbs the heat generated. It is also used as a coolant in nuclear reactor. In nuclear reactor, it is used as a coolant as it absorbs the heat generated. In nuclear reactor, heat generated or generated heat will be absorbed by the what? Heavy water. So it is used as a coolant. Okay. The next compound we are going to discuss is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide. Water formula H2O. Only one oxygen. So now only one oxide. Hydrogen peroxide means 2. So H2O2 is the formula for hydrogen. Per means 2. Oxide. 2 oxide. So hydrogen peroxide H2O2 is one of the most important peroxides. It can be prepared by treating metal peroxide with dilute acid. Metal peroxide example, sodium peroxide Na2O2, barium peroxide BaO2. Okay, these peroxides, these metallic peroxides treated with dilute acids like sulfuric acid. What is the formula for sulfuric acid? H2SO4. Sulfuric acid formula H2SO4. So BaO2 plus H2SO4 will give BaSO4 plus H2O2. Same way, sodium peroxide formula Na2O2. This Na2O2 will be treated with sulfuric acid and it will give what? Na2SO4 plus H2O2. Okay, on an industrial scale, hydrogen peroxide is now prepared exclusively by auto-oxidation of 2-alkyl anthraquinol. Quinol means 2 OH group will be there. Quinone means 2 double bond O, that is ketone group will be there. Okay, so this will be prepared industrially. How means by auto-oxidation. What is the meaning for oxidation? You know, auto-oxidation means self-oxidation. So auto-oxidation of 2-alkyl anthraquinol. Okay, next preparation, that is physical properties of hydrogen peroxide. Physical properties of hydrogen peroxide, if you take, means pure hydrogen peroxide is almost a colorless liquid, that is pale blue color, less volatile only. What is the meaning for volatile? Easily evaporated. Volatile liquid means easily evaporated liquid. Understood? But here this one is a less, this one is a what, colorless liquid, almost what, pale blue color it will become, and it is a less volatile liquid also, not easily evaporated. Evaporation is less only, and more viscous than water. More viscous than water. A 30% solution of hydrogen peroxide is marketed as 100 volume hydrogen peroxide. Indicate that at STP 100 ml of oxygen is liberated by 1 ml of this solution on heating. 30% solution of hydrogen peroxide is marketed as what? 100 volume of hydrogen peroxide. That will be indicating that at STP 100 ml of oxygen is liberated by 1 ml of this solution heating. While 1 ml of this solution is heated means how many ml of oxygen is liberated? 100 ml of oxygen is liberated. That is the meaning for that one. Okay. Next, chemical properties of hydrogen peroxide. Chemical properties of hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is highly unstable, and the aqueous solution spontaneously, of hydrogen peroxide spontaneously disproportionate. What is the meaning for that one? Decomposed to give oxygen and water. Okay, so the reaction is however slow, but it is an explosive when catalyzed by a metal. This reaction is very slow only, but it is explosive when catalyzed by a metal. Understood, ma? Okay, so if it is stored in glass container, it dissolves the alkali metals from the glass, so which catalyzes the disproportionation reaction. So H2O2 will give H2O plus oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide can act both as an oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Oxidation is usually performed in acidic solution or acidic medium, and reduction is performed in basic medium. Understood? So reduction is in basic medium and oxidation will be take place in the acidic medium. So it can act as both oxidizing agent and reducing agent. So first one, in acidic condition, hydrogen peroxide. Okay, with hydrogen peroxide we are adding what? Acid. We are adding acid. So how we can write the reaction? H2O2 plus H2SO4. This acidified hydrogen peroxide oxidizes this acidified hydrogen peroxide. What this will be? This will be oxidizes the ferrous sulfate to ferric sulfate. What is ferrous? Means 2 valency. Ferric means 3 valency. Ferrous sulfate means FeSO4. Ferric sulfate means Fe2SO4 thrice. So this hydrogen peroxide and acid H2SO4 plus FeSO4 gives Fe2SO4 thrice and water molecule H2O. In basic conditions. Understand? Hydrogen peroxide is used as an oxidizing agent. To oxidize, it is used to oxidize ferrous sulfate to ferric sulfate. At the same time, this hydrogen peroxide is reduced. Hydrogen peroxide reduced means removal of oxygen, so it is reduced to water molecule. In basic condition, example KMnO4 they have given. So KMnO4, potassium permanganate. What is KMnO4? K means potassium, permanganate means MnO4. So what what is the formula for potassium permanganate? KMnO4. KMnO4 combined with hydrogen peroxide and it will be treated with some percentage of alkali base also, and this will give what? MnO2. MnO4 minus will be what they are saying, will be reduced to MnO2. Understood? At the same time, hydrogen peroxide is oxidized and it will become what? H2O, and oxygen gas will be liberated. Understood or no? KMnO4 and H2O2. Understood? Now this KMnO4 will become what? MnO2, manganese dioxide. Understood or no? So by gaining electron only it will become MnO2. So gaining electron means reduction. Understood? At the same time, hydrogen peroxide will be oxidized and it will be removed as a water molecule. Okay, understood or no? Next one, uses of hydrogen peroxide. The oxidizing ability of hydrogen peroxide and the harmless nature of its products, that is water and oxygen. Its product is what? Water and oxygen, lead to its many applications. It is used in water treatment to oxidize pollutant as a mild antiseptic, and it is used as a bleach also in textile and paper and hair care industries. It is used as a bleach also in textile, paper and hair care industries. Okay, next one, hydrogen peroxide is used to restore the white color of the old paintings which was lost due to the reaction of hydrogen sulfide present in the air. So with the white pigment Pb3OH twice, CO3 twice to form black colored lead sulfide. Understood? That is nothing but what? No, one more time I am explaining. Hydrogen peroxide is used to restore the white color of the old paintings. White color of the old paintings which was lost due to the reaction of hydrogen sulfide present in the air with the white pigment. So to form black colored lead sulfide. So hydrogen peroxide oxidizes black colored lead sulfide to white colored lead sulfate, thereby restoring the color. So PbS plus H2O2 will give PbSO4 plus H2O. Next, structure of hydrogen peroxide. Both in gas phase state and liquid phase, the molecule adopts a skew conformation, that is move. It can be converted into both form, like a skew form, like that way. Understood? It can able to rotate like that way. We can say skew conformation due to the repulsive interaction of the OH bonds. Due to the repulsive interaction of the OH bonds with lone pair of electron on each oxygen atom. 2 OH is present in hydrogen peroxide. Between this 2 OH, what will happen? Repulsive interaction will be happen. That also what? With the lone pair of electron on the 2 OH on the oxygen atom, 2 lone pair of electrons are present. Indeed, it is the smallest molecule known to show hindered rotation about a single bond. Okay, understood? No? Next, H2O2 has a non-polar structure. Actually, the molecular dimensions in the gas phase and the solid phase differ as shown in the figure. Structurally, hydrogen peroxide is represented by dihydroxyl formula 2OH, in which the 2 OH groups do not lie in the same plane. These 2 OH group present in hydrogen peroxide do not lie in the same plane. One way of explaining the shape of hydrogen peroxide is that the hydrogen atom would lie on the pages of the partly open book. How the open book on if you keep means, so on the open book page one hydrogen atom is partly lie on the pages of the partly open book, and the oxygen atom along the spiral, that is spine, along the spine. Oxygen atom is along the spine, and if you take one book is openly kept. Okay, understood? So one page side one hydrogen atom, another page side one hydrogen atom, and on the spine, in between that, on the spine, two oxygen atoms are present. So like that way its structure they are saying. And the oxygen atoms along the spine, in the solid phase of molecule, the dihedral angle reduces to 90.2 due to hydrogen bonding, and the OOH angle expands from 94.8 to 101.9. 94.8 is in gas phase, and what will happen, it will be expands to 101.9 degree in the solid phase. Okay, this is the structure of hydrogen peroxide. Next we are going to discuss about hydrides. Usually hydrogen can have one electron. That hydrogen atom will lose the electron and it will become H plus most of its compound. This we have discussed already in first lesson. Oxidation number of hydrogen always +1 in all its compound except some hydrides, some metallic hydride. So some metals like lithium, sodium and all combined with the hydrogen, that time hydrogen atom gain the electron and it will form hydrides. It will form hydrides. Okay, so hydrogen forms binary hydrides with many electropositive elements including metals and non-metals. It also form ternary hydrides with two metals. Example, ternary hydrides also, this hydrogen will be formed with the two metals. Example, reducing agent like lithium aluminum hydride. Lithium and aluminum, two metals, understood, combine with hydrogen and it will form what? Ternary, that is 4 hydrides. So LiAlH4 lithium aluminum hydride and LiBH4 lithium borohydride. Like this way it will be formed. The hydrides are classified as ionic hydride, covalent hydride, metallic hydride according to the nature of bonding. So based on the nature of bonding, these hydrides are classified into ionic hydrides, covalent hydrides and metallic hydrides. So hydrides formed with elements. Hydrides formed with elements having lower electronegativity than hydrogen. Hydrides mostly formed with the elements having lower electronegativity than the hydrogen are often ionic, whereas with the elements having higher electronegativity than hydrogen it will form a covalent hydrides. Okay, lower electronegativity than hydrogen means it will form ionic hydrides. Hydrogen combined with the elements having higher electronegativity with compared to hydrogen. Compared to hydrogen, the compounds or hydrogen can the elements can have compared to hydrogen can have lower electronegativity, then it will be form ionic hydrides. Elements those have higher electronegativity compared to hydrogen, then it will form what? No, covalent hydrides. So one by one we will discuss what is ionic hydrides, what is covalent hydrides and what is metallic hydrides. Okay, ionic hydrides. First one, these are hydrides composed of an electropositive metal, generally an alkali or alkaline earth metal. Ionic hydrides, it is also called saline hydrides. These are hydrides composed of electropositive metal. Okay, electropositive means alkali metals and alkaline earth metals, first two groups. Okay, generally an alkali or alkaline earth metal except beryllium and magnesium. It will be combined with other alkali metals and alkaline earth metals and it will form what? Hydrides. Okay, except beryllium and magnesium, formed by transfer of electron from metal to hydrogen atom. From metal, electron will be transferred to hydrogen atom while combined with the hydrogen. So that time it will be formed. They can be prepared by the reaction of elements at about 400 degrees Celsius. They can be prepared by the reaction of elements at about 400 degrees Celsius. These are salt-like and high melting white crystalline solids having hydride ions H minus and metallic cations Mn plus. Mn plus. So example, Li, lithium combined with hydrogen, it will form lithium hydride. Calcium combined with hydrogen, it will form calcium hydride. So calcium will donate an electron to hydrogen and it will form calcium hydride. Lithium also give one electron to hydrogen and it will acquire what? It will be form lithium hydrides. Next, covalent hydrides. It is also called molecular hydrides. They are compounds in which hydrogen is attached to another element by sharing of electron. Ionic hydride means what? Already we have discussed in from lower classes. Ionic bond means transfer of electrons from one atom to another atom. So what? Hydrogen will gain electron from the metal and it will become a hydride. So it is gaining the electron from the other metal. So that's why it will form what? Ionic hydrides. Here what? Hydrogen atom combined with the other elements, that time by sharing of electron it will form a hydrides. That type of hydrides are called as an covalent hydride. So the most common example of covalent hydrides of non-metals are methane CH4, ammonia NH3, water H2O and hydrogen chloride HCl. So covalent hydrides are further divided into three categories. Again, covalent hydrides are further classified into three categories. One is, that is electron precise CH4, C2H6, SaH4, germanium hydride. These and all example electron precise. And an electron precise means what we can say, it can have electron before, that is it can have more electron, like that way we can say. And then electron rich hydrides are there and electron deficient hydrides are there. Electron deficient hydrides diborane B2H6 and electron rich hydrides ammonia and H2O. This and all example. Okay, understood? So since most of the covalent hydrides consist of discrete small molecules, also discrete and small molecules, they have relatively weak intermolecular forces and they are generally gases or volatile liquids. Either gases or volatile liquids. Next one, metallic hydride. This is a very, very important one. What is covalent hydride? What are the types of covalent hydrides? Next one, metallic hydrides, or it is called interstitial hydrides. Metallic hydrides are usually obtained by hydrogenation of metals. Metallic hydrides are usually obtained by hydrogenation of metals. What is the meaning for hydrogenation? Addition of hydrogen. Okay, with metal and alloys in which hydrogen occupies the interstitial sites in between the two metals. So in between that one place will be there, in between that place the hydrogen will go and occupy. That only they are saying interstitial site or voids, gap, holes. So metallic hydrides are usually obtained by hydrogenation of metals and alloys in which hydrogen occupies the interstitial sites or voids. Voids means holes. Hence, they are called interstitial hydrides. The hydrides show properties similar to parent metals, and hence they are also known as metallic hydrides. These type of hydrides show what? Similar to parent metal properties. That's why they are also called metallic hydrides. In between that, the hydrogen occupies one place, that is interstitial site or voids or holes, we can say. That's why it is called as an interstitial hydrides. And these hydrides also show the properties similar to the parent metal. That's why it is also known as metallic hydrides. Most of the hydrides are non-stoichiometric with variable composition. Okay, and some are relatively light and inexpensive and thermally unstable, which make them useful for hydrogen storage applications. Electropositive metals and some other metals form hydrides with the stoichiometric MH metallic hydrides, or sometimes MH2 also, that is a non-stoichiometric also it will be formed. They are saying that metal may be titanium, zirconium, hafnium, vanadium, zinc. Understood? Okay, electropositive metals and some other metals form hydrides with the stoichiometric proportion M bond H or sometimes MH2. M may be titanium Ti, zirconium Zr, hafnium Hf, vanadium V and zinc Zn. Okay. Next one, hydrogen bonding. Already I have explained about hydrogen bonding. What is meant by hydrogen bonding? Hydrogen atom is bonded to highly electronegative elements like what? Oxygen, nitrogen and fluorine. Okay, oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine, then that is called as an what? Hydrogen bond. Hydrogen, many electronegative elements are there, but what which and all with which and all hydrogen will be combined means we are saying as the hydrogen bonding. With oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine, hydrogen atom is combined means we are saying that is a type of hydrogen bonding, because hydrogen atom is bonded to smaller atomic number of highly electronegative elements, then that type of hydrogen bonding is very effective. That's why they are saying like this way. Understood, ma? Already explained before this. I explained that is there are two types of hydrogen bonding. One is intermolecular hydrogen bonding and another one is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Intramolecular hydrogen bonding means within the molecule itself hydrogen atom is bonded to highly electronegative element like nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, then that is called as an intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Example we can say, best example they have given orthonitrophenol. Actually phenol formula above the benzene ring OH is there means then we can say that is a phenol. That is a phenol. Then next to OH above the benzene ring, benzene means what? Hexagon. It is one of the aromatic benzene ring. Hexagon shape. Inside the hexagon alternate double bond we should put, then that is called as an benzene. Above the benzene ring OH alcohol functional group is there means that is called as an phenol. Next to OH group, next position to the OH group, NO2 group, nitro group is attached to the benzene ring means then that is called as an orthonitrophenol. In nitro group N double bond O is there. So in nitro group oxygen and OH, that is alcohol O bond H, hydrogen is there. So between alcohol hydrogen and nitro O there will be a bond is formed. That type of bond is called as an hydrogen bond. They have clearly given in your book. Understood, ma? Orthonitrophenol and salicylaldehyde also example for intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Mostly intramolecular hydrogen bonding will be take place in the ring forming compound only it will be take place. Next one, intramolecular hydrogen mostly intramolecular hydrogen bonding take place in the what I said, ring forming compounds or otherwise cyclic compounds only it will be take place. So what is that? It will form a ring formation. This intramolecular hydrogen bonding means what I said, within the molecule hydrogen bonding happen means the intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Example orthonitrophenol in your book they have given. So between the nitro group and OH group, between hydrogen and oxygen there will be a bond formation. So if you see that what is that, the type of bond if you see means then how it will be appear, it will be appear as a like a ring formation. That's why it is also called as in chelation. Chelation means ring forming. So it will form while formation of intramolecular hydrogen bond in orthonitrophenol, it will form like a ring formation. That's why it is called as in this intramolecular hydrogen bond is also called as in chelation. Next one, intermolecular hydrogen bond. Intermolecular hydrogen bond is nothing but occur between the two separate molecules. They can occur between any numbers of like or unlike molecules as long. Already I have explained. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding means inter-school meet, like inter-school meet. What is meant by inter-school meet means many schools will be participated in that competition, something whatever may be sports or another type of that is competitions also. Competitions, many school students will go on participating in that So that time what all the school students will be participated. So we are saying as a inter school meet, we can say. Here also intermolecular hydrogen bonding means maybe two or more molecules, that two or more molecules may be same or different, the two or more molecules combine, that time between the two or more molecules what hydrogen bonding will be occur means, then that is called as an intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding example water H2O and HF, H bond F, that is also an example for intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay, if you take HF, one HF combine with another HF, combine with another HF, between one HF and another HF, one HF another HF hydrogen will be bonded, hydrogen bonded. Same way second HF will be combined with third HF, second HF fluorine and say third HF hydrogen will be bonded. So that is called as an hydrogen bonded. Like that way it will give a zigzag formation, zigzag formation. Understood? Next, in ice, if you take in ice, each atom is surrounded tetrahedrally by 4 water molecules. In ice, each atom is tetrahedrally surrounded by 4 water molecules through hydrogen bond. In ice, each atom is surrounded tetrahedrally by 4 water molecules through hydrogen bond. That is, in the presence of 2 hydrogen atoms and 2 lone pair of electron on oxygen atoms in each water molecule allows the formation of three-dimensional structure. That they have given in the book. This arrangement creates an open structure which accounts for the lower density of ice compared with the water at 0 degree Celsius. While in liquid water, unlike ice where hydrogen bonding occurs over a long range order, because liquid means what? It will be melt. That time in hydrogen atom in water molecule between hydrogen and oxygen bond will be cleaved. So that time it will become a liquid state. That time that bond is nothing but extended in a long range order. So the strong hydrogen bonding prevails only a short range and therefore the denser packing. Therefore that one is in ice on the denser packing. Understood, Ananma? Okay, so they have given in water molecule between HOH the bond angle is nothing but 104.5 degree they have given, and hydrogen bridge bonding how they have explained. In one water molecule HOH, the red color ball is O and white color ball is H. Understood? That hydrogen atom, first water molecule hydrogen atom is bonded to second water molecule oxygen. So that time the dotted line they have given like this zigzag motion, that bond is called as hydrogen bridge bond or hydrogen bond. So hydrogen bond occurs not only in simple molecules but also in complex biomolecules such as proteins, and they are crucial for biological process. For example, hydrogen bonds play an important role in the structure of deoxyribonucleic acid DNA, since they hold together the two helical nucleic acid chain strands. The nucleic acid chain is there no more. In that what will happen, in the chain, the nucleic acid chain, hydrogen and nitrogen, because nucleic acid means what will be the nitrogen and hydrogen. So between nitrogen and hydrogen what bond will be formed. That also how two helical nucleic acid. In that what type of bond is occur, they are saying that is nothing but hydrogen bond. But here in nucleic acid DNA, the hydrogen bond is with hydrogen and nitrogen. In water molecule, hydrogen bond is with hydrogen and oxygen. In hydrogen fluoride, the hydrogen bond is hydrogen with hydrogen and fluorine. Between hydrogen and fluorine HF, between hydrogen and oxygen water, between hydrogen and nitrogen nucleic acid they have given in the book example. Understood? Okay, thank you. questions for your assignment. Complete and send it to my number.